Hello, friends. It's Darlene from Freedom for Nova Scotia in Sydney. I am doing this video today to make sure that everyone is aware of what is happening in our sister province of New Brunswick. To the people of New Brunswick, we hear your plea and respond to your SOS. While provinces have been free to manage their own restrictions and lockdowns during the pandemic, grocery stores across the country have, until now, remained open to everyone. In the face of a very concerning rise in infections over the past 2 weeks and a disproportionate number of cases among the unvaccinated, Health Minister Dorothy Shepherd said the three-level plan with new restrictions will take effect Saturday, December 4th at 11:59 p.m. It will remain in effect until spring. Did you hear that, folks? Until spring. This is their solution to the jabba jabba hesitant, or to those who choose not to be jabbed. They are basically saying it's okay to discriminate on certain groups of people, the unjabbed or those who refuse to provide jabba jabba passports. They are essentially saying that grocery store owners are permitted to commit murder by starving certain individuals to death. What the hell? New Brunswick leaders and officials have just announced how much of monsters they really are. They are evil, pure evil. I ask, what other countries in the world would you be angry with if they were doing that to their citizens? You would be asking for international countries around the world to intervene, right? Wouldn't you? Right now, to them, people are no longer citizens. They are becoming slaves to the public health agenda, which is do what we want you to do or suffer the consequences, like starvation. Seriously, these grocery store owners could potentially starve people out on purpose. Why? Because the government said they could do it. The health minister said the entire province will be in level 1, the lowest level of restrictions, when the plan takes effect. It includes the following rules and guidelines. Malls, grocery stores, salons must enforce physical distancing or may instead require proof of jabba jabba from all patrons. It is important we have a plan in place that ensures our healthcare system is not overwhelmed, but also considers the mental, physical, and financial health of New Brunswickers. Seriously, can you imagine? How can she seriously say that when in fact she is in every sense contributing to making mental and physical health of people worse and creating financial ruin to so many people? The measures are not difficult, she said. They are small actions that each person can take, but when combined can make a big difference. The power to keep us in level 1 is in our own hands. She said if necessary, the Winter Action Plan has 2 more alert levels with increased restrictions. On the whole, I think people will be compliant. They understand what's at stake, and nobody wants to go to more stricter phases. There you go. That word again, people. Compliant. Says it all. That's all they want, for people to obey every word they say and do everything they say without question. As of Friday, 81.9% of eligible New Brunswickers are fully jabbed against copper virus, and 87.1% have received the first dose. I would like to know how many of those 87% with the 1 dose of the jabba jabba were infected by the copper virus, because remember, they are not considered jabbed. So if they get infected, they are placed on the dashboard as being unjabbed. Even though there are breakthrough cases within the jabbed population, they will still blame those who decided to exercise their rights and freedom to choice and not get jabbed. For people who have been fully jabbed at least 14 days prior to a possible exposure, public health recommends they monitor for symptoms for 14 days after the possible exposure and get copper lab tests if symptoms develop. They do not need to isolate while they wait for their results. There you have it. They could be infected and still allowed to freely go wherever they want. without isolation, unlike the unjabbed, who would most definitely have to isolate for 14 days and test negative at least twice. The National Advisory Committee on Immunization, in a new report they just issued, also calls on Canadians aged 18 to 49 to get a third mRNA shot at least 6 months after they got their second dose. The measures were announced as the province's winter action plan, which allows any business, including grocery stores, to the option of barring unjabbed individuals. In a guide published by the federal government, Public Safety Canada names food as one of the 10 critical sectors of infrastructure, calling its preparation and delivery an essential service and function. Those jabba jabba passports are not about public health, but about coercing jabba jabba acceptance. Today's novel gene therapy messenger mRNA and adenovirus vector jabs have not been used before in the human population and only provide what limited protection they do within a 5 to 6 month window. Text of the preamble to the Nuremberg Code mentions that the protagonists of the practice of human experimentation justify their views on the basis that such experiments yield results for the good of society that are unprocurable by other methods or means of study. Item 1 of that permissible medical experiments section of the Nuremberg Code expressly prohibits coercion. It says, the voluntary consent of the human subject is absolutely essential. This means that the person involved should have legal capacity to give consent, should be so situated as to be able to exercise free power of choice without the intervention of any element of force, fraud, deceit, duress, overreaching, or other ulterior form of constraint or coercion, and should have sufficient knowledge and comprehension of the elements of the subject matter involved as to enable him to make an understanding and enlightened decision. So what are we seeing here in New Brunswick? Nazism, communism, dictatorship, tyranny, all in the name of a virus that has a 99% recovery rate. We have an elected official taking advice from an unelected official who also is using totalitarian edicts to promote a jabba that does not act like a true jabba jabba should act. Why? Because it does not do what it is supposed to do, which is to make you resistant to the virus or infection, stimulate the body's immune system to prevent the disease, recognize it, destroy it, and remember it for future encounters. So, if you can still get infected and spread the copper virus after getting the jab, then it is not a true jabba jabba, right? Yet, they still try to convince you that you need to get that jab, not only 2 doses, but now 3 doses. When will it end? It can only end when the people start to rise up and say no to the authoritarian demands of their leaders. For those who are supposed to be public servants are committing crimes against humanity. To not allow people to get food, come on. If you think that is wrong, then get out there and voice your concerns. This message is for the jabbed and unjabbed. Grocery stores now have the right to discriminate against you if they choose to do so. A two-tier society has emerged. It must be stopped in its tracks. Go out and tell Premier Higgins, enough is enough. We are still in a democracy, and to ban food from a populace who made a choice of bodily autonomy, punishing them for non-compliance is something that Nazis would have done and did do. They have committed war against the unjabbed, and it's past time to stop this. I encourage everyone to attend the SOS rally in Moncton on Saturday, December 11th at noon at Riverfront Park and stand against the human rights violations. Do you fully understand the gross infringement of our human rights? Atlantic freedom fighters urged all freedom fighters, all people that have any sense of human dignity at all, to convoy from every Atlantic province to go to New Brunswick, be part of ending these injustices. Make your voices heard loud and clear. No more. Enough is enough. End the medical apartheid. End the war on the unjabbed. If you don't, jabbed or unjabbed, it won't matter. You will be next. New Brunswick leaders have made their citizens enter the 1984 Orwellian book. Those leaders are acting just like those who were in power did in Germany back in 1938. What did the people do back then when these atrocities were happening? Many did nothing. Most people simply allowed it to happen without a second glance. A day will come in the near future when your children, your grandchildren, will ask you, what did you do to stop the tyranny? What will you tell them? I ask, will you answer the SOS from New Brunswickers? SOS rally in Moncton on Saturday, December 11th at noon at Riverfront Park. Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, here's your plea. We stand by you all, our brothers and sisters in New Brunswick. Stay the path, stay true, and stay strong. Know that the resistance has just begun.